Hello, ladies. Hope you are well. Welcome to the next episode of More Than Just One podcast. It's Heather here, your host. But before we get started today, I just want to make you aware that in this episode, myself and Hannah Barker will be covering some sensitive topics, and these require a trigger warning. So if any of these issues affect you, then please feel free to turn the episode off now and join us next week. So, in this episode, we will be talking and discussing baby loss, miscarriage, and CMD. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to today's episode of More Than Just Mum, the podcast. It's Heather Palfreman here, and I am very, very excited for our guest today, Hannah Barker. Me and Hannah have known each other for almost 5 years now, which is crazy because it seems like it's just been a lifetime, in a really, really positive way. And I have seen Hannah like transform, blossom, grow, and develop over those last almost 5 years. So, Hannah, it is brilliant to have you here today on the podcast. So, welcome. Hello.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's been something I've wanted to be part of your podcast for ages, and like you've just said, like our connection, I feel like we've known each other all our lives because it's like talking to your best friend. So
Yeah.
it's that lovely element of things.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. And I've got Hannah on today because I just want her to share her story and her journey. And it's going to inspire other people. Absolutely. And this is like the power of sharing our stories. That's why I wanted to bring this podcast to life, finally. Because we've all got lessons, we've all got stories, we've all got situations, experiences that will help each other, and we just need to get this out there more. So, Hannah, tell everybody what's your name and where do you come from, and what is it that you do? Because you're a very, very busy mum as well.
So I'm Hannah. I'm a busy mum of four. I've got a group called the Gratitude Mum Hub, where I'm talking about all things mindset, gratitude, skincare. So my journey started in lockdown of July 2020, where I'd not long had my third son at the time. So I'd gone through a bit of a funk where I just didn't know where I were at with things. And then lockdown happened, so it was the whole uncertainty of knowing what to do. So I got approached with network marketing, which I'd never been part of before, which was the Body Shop at home at the time, and I really enjoyed the taking care of myself. So basically, it gave me that opportunity to be able to actually put myself first for a change. And I kind of went on a lot of like development things, so I was learning a lot about the law of attraction and things like that that Heather actually introduced me to as well. And we actually got talking through, I think it was through just like a Follow a Friday post. And then ever since then, we've just blossomed as our little friendship. And she's always been like my voice, like her voice in my head when I've needed that inspiration. I've always sort of thought to myself, what would Heather do in this situation? And it's always sort of been like, oh, I think she'd do this. I've always had like that Heather on my shoulder, as everyone talks about in the membership quite a lot. Everyone needs a Heather in their life. So, and then sort of fast forward to where we're at now, 2023 was one of the hardest times in my life because I'd not long found out I was pregnant, and I actually had a miscarriage, which was they classed it as a late miscarriage because it was after 12 weeks. So I found I was really, really brought to my knees in terms of going through like the mindset work and everything. So I had to kind of take myself away from social media because there were a lot of people at the time that were pregnant. Um, and I just needed to have that time away. I think I had about 3 months away, I think it was. And it just helped me get my thoughts back together, like rebuild myself. And then I've kind of turned that power into it, that pain into power. So I've been able to share my story around raising awareness for an illness that I had that I'd never heard about with previous pregnancies, which was called CMV. It's called as a in I can't say the full term because I can't pronounce it. But if I said CMV, if you were to Google it, you'd find it. But it's basically like part of the cold sore virus. So you can have it and not know about it, and it's spread through like just common colds and things like that. So when I got tested and that came back on blood tests, I had no idea what it was. But then when I looked further into it, it's the sort of illness that does actually, it can either affect your baby or it can make your waters break, which is what happened in my case. So I wanted to raise a bit more awareness around it because I think
Mm.
it's one of those things, there's no cure for it as such, but if you know that you've got it, then you can kind of work with professionals with it. Obviously, in my case, it didn't really end how we wanted it to. But then I've got fast forward to 2024 and I've got my little rainbow baby Rafe. And I feel like he was brought to me, and I think it's a reincarnation because he was born on 1101. So they're my two favourite angel numbers. And I always think to myself, like, a part of his brother lives in him, and I just like I feel like Robin's come back to me. So like we always do like a bit of a memorial for him. So like when it's coming up to the anniversary to honour him and things. And I've had previous miscarriages which were early miscarriages, so they were easier to get over, whereas this one was very unexpected. So I just wanted to sort of share my journey and just say like there's nothing that you can't bring yourself out of, because I'd got myself into a good mindset, whereas the first time having my first miscarriage, I didn't have that. So doing the work and just doing the small action steps is what gets you to where you want to be. And we're constantly growing and evolving. And the biggest thing I've found as well is EFT tapping's been quite a good tool for me recently. Um, I started that, I'd probably say a couple of months ago. And then since doing that alongside meditation, it's just shifted things for me. And I've been able to have that more calmer experience with also another tool that I use, which is intention setting, which is another tool you can use to basically just write down on paper or even like say out loud what you want to bring for the day. So one of
Mm.
my questions I tend to ask a lot is, what do I want to create today? How do I want to feel today? What's my intention for the day? So it can literally, it's tapping into your five senses. If you're good at visualizing, I find it hard to visualize, but I know that something's there. So that's kind of part of me. Some people can't always see visually, but they have that deep knowing that it's there. So it's just tapping into what feels right for you. And today I was listening to a podcast, and I've learned quite a lot from that as well. Like I didn't realize just through doing 6 deep breaths for 10 minutes in the morning, not looking at your phone, and to do some intentional breathing and
Mm.
basically um, it was, I got it off Rob Dials actually. It was today's episode, and I must have needed to hear it because I just had that feeling, oh, I need to listen to that today. So I listened to it, and it were really insightful because he was saying it only takes you a matter of 2 minutes to reset everything. So if you're in the fight or flight response, 6 intentional breaths, like a breathing in and breathing out, is
Yeah.
actually what recalibrates everything and puts everything back to a back to a calming state. And I did
Ah, that's
actually,
interesting. I
it
think
was
there's quite a few mums in here that could probably do with 6 deep breaths.
definitely, and it's like he was saying, it doesn't even, because he said initially to set up your day for success in the morning, 10 minutes in the morning, don't look at your phone, don't look at your to-do list, like put that all to one side and have 10 minutes to yourself of just doing
Mm.
6 deep breaths. And basically, what he was saying as well is think of one thing you're grateful for. So you're starting your day with gratitude. So mine, I did it like around my family. So I was like, kept saying to myself in my head and out loud, I'm grateful for my family. And like every time your brain veers off, bring it back. bring back that feeling.
Mm.
Because he said he went on like a retreat for, I'm sure he said for like Buddhism. And he basically went on this retreat for 10 days. He couldn't speak to anybody. He literally weren't allowed to speak. They weren't allowed to have eye contact or anything. And it was just basically learning your mind to be quiet. Because that's a lot of the time is quite the hardest bit of switching off. You've always
Yeah.
got I've got this to do, or I've got that to do. And I found the biggest thing for me has been literally having presence with things,
Mm.
because a lot of the time we have that many tabs open as mums anyway. It's having that time for yourself and thinking, no, I'm taking time for me now. This is my time. This is my time to sit and think, no, that can wait. That's not important right now. I'm a priority. So I just wanted to test the theory when he was saying about it, and it did actually make me feel really calm. And he was saying no matter what time of your day, says obviously the shit's still going to hit the fan at some point in the day, but that's just lifing, isn't it? Like, so it's just the fact of having that intentional thing behind things you want to do. And last week, I think it was last week or week before, I had a parking ticket given to me, and I was absolutely livid. And I was thinking to myself once it had happened and everything had calmed down, thinking, why have I got this parking ticket? Like, what is the lesson behind it? And when I thought about it, I switched something around in my morning routine, literally just one little thing
Mm.
of not procrastinating and doing things and not messing around and not being productive. And I changed one thing, which was instead of just sitting around doing nothing, doing the jobs I needed to do, and then having a slow morning. And I actually left the house 10 minutes earlier than I would have normally. And
Mm.
it was a sign to say that's what you need to do in the morning to get yourself in that car park at nursery, where you're not having to park on the road where there's restrictions, where you're going to get a parking ticket. So that's kind of like the universe's nudge to say, you've been saying you want to be more
Mm.
organised. You've been saying you want to be more calm, but you're still in busy mode. This
Yeah.
is what you need to do, and it's literally that one little small action that can change the whole game.
Mm.
And that's the one thing I want to try and put across to people. Like, gratitude is such a powerful tool that anyone can use with that intentionality. And it's just having that time for yourself. I mean, if you can't manage 10 minutes, 5 minutes is like suffices. Um, and the whole what he was saying a lot of is when you find your mind wandering off, just bringing that gratitude back, bringing
Mm.
that one thing that you're grateful for, like breathing it in, breathing it out, blowing it out like it's just like you're sucking on a straw. He basically said, which what made a lot of sense when I did like test the theory. So I'm one of these. If I learn something new, I have to test that theory because I want to see where they're coming from. And I felt
I
so
love
much
it.
calmer.
That used to be me. Oh, you can't think a positive and a negative thought at the same time. Well, do you know what? I'm going to try anyway.
You literally can't though, can you? Like, what you focus on is where your energy goes as well. Like, if you're wanting to bring in more calm and more organisation, you need to have those moments where you can allow yourself to have that. Even if it's going to bed 5 minutes earlier,
Yeah.
getting up 5 minutes early, because it's not you don't need to do the big thing. It's the little things that add to the big things.
Hmm.
And that's the thing I've found in general. I've kind of like this month, I've been focusing more on the things that feel good for me rather than chasing what other people are doing, because it might work for that person, but it might not work for you. And then
Yeah.
you end up with burnout, which is not nice for anybody. So it's the whole finding what works for you, finding your own little toolkit that's going to
Mm.
bring you out of those dark times when you need it. Because a lot of the time we can just be in burnout mode and not even realize it until literally you get ill and you're forced to rest because your body's like, no, I've told you, you know, you need to rest. You're not listening, so I'm going to make you rest.
Yeah.
We've all
Yeah.
been there, haven't we?
We have, yeah. So so you're a busy mom, so you've got a job, you've got a business, you've got four kids. How on earth do you manage or juggle or whatever you want to call all of that?
So I do a lot of, so a lot of the time I try and pencil it in with stuff. So like, if the kids are hard work at getting to bed, I'll have my journal with me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm sat outside the bedroom, I'll journal. So I'm fitting in the time for myself. And it's a lot of the time as well, I'm making that time by having like a reminder, like a timer.
Mm.
Um, I've made it like a non-negotiable on a Thursday. I have a child-free day. Like if you can do that, because it's such a nice day just to have to yourself, just to refill your cup. Because that's one of the other things that I wasn't doing, prioritizing myself and then feeling guilty.
Mm.
Where I've had to sort of shift that focus and think, do you know what? No, I'm a priority as well. Like if I'm not at my best self, then how can I serve anybody else?
Yeah.
So a lot of the time I'll just put that time aside, whether it's like set 10-minute pocket seconds. Like even before, like that's why I always say like the first thing in the morning is a powerful tool,
Mm.
because your brain's not quite woke up and you can sort of mold your day to how you want it. So that's why the deep 6 breaths is actually quite a good one. So like I say, I tried that this morning because I was feeling a bit stressed. And ever since doing it, I felt a lot calmer. And I did it before I came on here as well, along with your tea
She knew she was
tapping.
coming on with me, so she needed to take some deep breaths.
I needed some deep breathing. I needed to recalibrate myself. Needed to bring that fresh energy in. And this is it.
Oh.
It's those. It doesn't have to be something that's going to take you ages. It's just having that intention behind it that this is a non-negotiable. This
Mm.
is the time I'm going to do it. And if like as well, maybe getting like your partner on board and saying, look, this is the time I'm having to myself.
Yeah.
Even if it's just to have that bubble bath, walk around the park, whatever it is, whatever your poison is, it's so important to put us first sometimes, because if we're not feeling great, then our kids just pick up on that energy.
Oh, they do. Yes, they do.
And they tap on it so much that you think, do you know what? I should have just done what I said I was going to do.
Yeah. Let's just talk then. Let's because you picked up on that. I think I've got these on the wrong way. Hang on. I have. Not that it matters. I mean, they're both pretty much the same. But on the mum guilt, because there'll be a lot of ladies, a lot of listeners listening in, going, well, it's all right for you because you don't feel guilty or this or that or the other, or I don't have time to do this. So when it comes to the mum guilt, so one of the sayings that I always say is, and this is what I heard in 2020, was you're not putting yourself on the same on for start again, Heather. You're not putting yourself first. You're putting yourself on the same level that you put everybody else. And if a friend came to me and said, "Oh, I'm feeling this way," then I would recommend that they probably go to bed and go and have a sleep or go and take some time for themselves. But we don't do that for ourselves, or society hasn't made it socially acceptable for us to go and do that. So if a mum comes to you and says, "Oh, this is how I'm feeling. I'm burnt out," and you say to her, "Well, go and do something for you," and she goes, "But I feel really guilty." What would you say? I'm putting you on the spot
No,
now, aren't I? But what would
no,
you
I would
say?
I would say to him, well, if it was the other way around and it was a friend coming to you, what would you tell them? Because that's what
Oh,
you need to do. Because if you speak to yourself as you would your best friend, your life would feel so much better than if you got that inner critic saying, "Oh well, you can't do that," or "Yeah, but you've got this to do." That's absolutely fine, but you are the priority as well. Like you're important too. So
mm,
that's one of the things I was trying to embed in myself. Like if I get that guilt, I'm like, no, I'm important too. Like if I'm not feeling great, then how can I be service to the kids? Like how can I show them that compassion if they're having a bit of a wobble like they do, like which they will
yeah.
do. How can you
Yes.
be the best version of yourself if you're not giving yourself that as well? And you're also teaching your kids that
Mm,
it's important to look after you. If they're just seeing you in busy mode, they're going to think that that's what they should be doing when they're going to adults. And I have actually started teaching my oldest one mindful breathing, because she gets really anxious, and I've
mm,
found that she's having a meltdown. I tend to say to her, right, come back to me once you've done your mindful breathing, because I can't I can't help you when you're in fight or flight,
mm.
because what you're saying to me, you're in full blown meltdown mode. I can't help you. I need you to calm down, and then I can come back to you and help you. Which a lot of the time as well, a lot of our kids are really dysregulated with school because they hold it all in. They see
Yeah.
us, and that's it. The meltdowns start, and you think, "What the hell have I done wrong to like get into this position?" But
Yeah,
it's
I can
nothing you're
see
doing.
like so many other mums listening going, yeah, that's me. Like most days, yeah, that's me.
And it's the whole there's a analogy, I don't know if anyone's heard it, but there's two different sides of things. So you've got we watched this experiment. It was really, really interesting. You've got Max, who's really fizzy, so he's literally ready to blow up. And then you've got another one who's called Maxine, who is very calm or looks very calm, but is actually the opposite end of the scale. Whereas that one little thing could tip her over the edge. So you might say, "Oh, how's your day been?" And then that's it. We're full blown into meltdown modes. So another thing, if you are struggling like with your kids, for instance, is maybe telling them about your day first, and then they tend to open up about their day. But sometimes it's a bit of a well, something like we don't think about it at the time, but we just want to know what they've been doing, don't we? And a lot of the time, they probably feel that pressure of, I don't really want to share that just yet. So, like, maybe like sharing snippets of your day tends to bring them out of the shell a bit. Or older children, I know, prefer their own space and tend to come to you in their time. It was just a bit of a tool that I've learned since doing these courses that I've been doing as well, like little strategies. And that was one of the things that we got told, maybe like sharing your day first, giving them that a bit of time to bring themselves back down.
Yeah.
It's just that happy balance as well, like knowing that how are your feelings valid as well. Like I know myself, if I'm feeling in a bit of a funk, I get my journal out because I
Mm,
know in my head I can't make sense of it. On paper I can, and I can look at it and pick it and think, well, is that true though? And then I can sort of get the piece of paper and rip it up, burn it up, and it's gone. And then I just replace it with something that's going to uplift me,
yeah.
which is the one thing that I find that shifts your focus. Once you have something in your toolkit that you can pull out when you need it, it shifts your focus.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you've mentioned, the toolkit, that was one of the first ever freebies that I did, which was the toolkit, the more than just one toolkit to get you from, feeling really, really overwhelmed and really, really like negative to feeling much more positive. And this isn't about toxic positivity, toxic positivity. Um, this is about seeing the good in situations when there's good to see in situations. And we've both, myself and yourself, have both experienced loss of completely different ends of the scale. It doesn't really matter. It's loss, heartache, and we've both still seen silver linings. And
And
it's not that we're glad that it happened or anything like that, but it's like, okay, so how can I use this experience to move myself forward and to help others as well? And you don't some people are born with that mindset and that skill set, and it is a skill set, having that resilience, having that ability to see the good in people, to see the good in situations, even when it's really, really fucking shit. Um, you know, that is a skill that can be developed if you want to do that. And when you have that skill and then you look back over a few years, you go flipping heck, like how much have I overcome in those last few years? Like I'm really proud of the 30-year-old, 25-year-old, 33-year-old, 53-year-old, 47-year-old, however old you were 3 years ago. I'm trying to get the whole broad age range there in. But like, and you look back and you go, oh my God, you know what? I'm really proud of how she handled that, of how little Heather or how little Hannah. I know, like I want little 3 years ago, but you know what I mean? Like you are a child, and you are, we don't look after ourselves as children. Like
yeah,
there was a reel a few months ago, and it talked about us when we are born, we birth one child. and that is us. And we do not look after that child. We do not nurture it. We do not love it as we should, as we love other people. And it's
Yeah,
crazy, isn't it? And like when you start thinking about it, obviously we don't want you to go down a rabbit hole, but yeah, when you start to think about actually what does this person need? What do I need? And it's not
definitely.
selfish. It's like Hannah said before, you're showing your children that mummy's allowed to be happy as well, and mummy doesn't have to be rushed off her feet all the time, knackered and shouting and exhausted. Mummy is allowed to go and see her friends. Mummy is okay to go for a run with her friends or go to the gym or go on a night out with her friends. Like, or go on holiday with her friends. Like, mummy's allowed to do those things because it makes mummy happy. And
This is
then
it.
that's teaching them as well when they grow up that they too can still have the things that you have as a child, maybe not as to the biggest as big as an extent. I can tell I'm very tired this afternoon. My I'm struggling to speak properly. Um, hopefully I'm making sense. I think I am.
Yeah,
Um,
you are.
but yeah, it's showing, it's role modeling to your children, not that mummy was working herself so hard into the ground that she burnt out,
This
which
is
is
it.
what society. Oh, are you tired? Oh, how are you? Are you busy? Well, actually, do you know what? No, I'm not busy. Well, that's not good. Yeah, it's brilliant. Actually, I really love not being busy. But we
And it,
don't, do we? We go,
no,
oh, I'm so busy. Oh, and it's like a bloody fucking award.
yeah. And the other thing as well, like a lot of the time we don't actually ask that question, do we, in the morning? Like that's probably a good question to ask in the morning, what do I need? And instead of listening to your head, like tapping into your heart space,
Mm,
because your head will always tell you the option that's not the right one for you. Your heart will never lie to you.
mm,
So that's one of the other tools that I tend to use. I do like my mindful breathing, tap into my heart space, and I listen for
mm,
that inner guidance. I don't judge it. I write it down and then I put it into practice and I
yeah.
embody it, because I think that's how we get better at it as well, by listening
Mm,
to our inner self, in listening to our inner child. What do they
yeah.
need? So I think a lot of the time we just need that hug. We just need that compassion. So when those negative thoughts come up, we can sort of wrap ourselves in a bit of a
Mm,
hug and say, no, it's okay you feel like that, because it makes you human.
yeah.
Like there's no shame around you feeling those feelings, because that's a lot of the time is I think where the toxic positivity comes in, isn't it? Like not acknowledging those
Pretending,
feelings
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Pretending,
and
pretending,
pushing them
pretending.
down, and it just
Yeah.
doesn't work, does it, when it's like that? It needs to be, you need to acknowledge that first, then you can move through to the next thing.
Mm. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, right. We are unfortunately going to have to wrap it up. But before you go, I would absolutely love for you to share. You've already given us loads today, but one top tip or quote that you absolutely love that would really help some others who are listening in, and then your social media handles,
Yeah,
whichever ones you want to give out, and we will
yeah,
put them in the show notes as well. So yeah.
yeah. So feel the fear and do it anyway, something I live by every day, because you don't, nothing is promised here. You need to, if there's something you really want to do, you need to go out and grab it with both hands, because time's not promised to us. You don't know what's going to happen. And by you putting it off, you don't end up doing it because you taught yourself out of it. So, and the 3, 2, 1 method, like, I'm going to do this, right? 3, 2, 1, go, run with it.
Love it. Amazing. And
And
and it is
then
it is it's just it's action. It's taking action over
definitely
inaction. 100%.
the action, the small steps lead to the big things. And it doesn't even have to be something that's a massive thing. It's
Mm,
just having that, I'm going to do this. It's a non negotiable. No matter what shit hits the fan, I'm doing it. I'm going with it.
fab. And where can people find you if they want to come and connect with you?
So my group is called the Gratitude Mum Hub,
And that's on Facebook.
and that's on Facebook. Yeah, so I do a lot of top tips
Fabulous.
in there.
Brilliant. So we will put it in the show notes below. So if you want to go and follow Hannah and join her group, then please do that. She is full of knowledge and top tips and lots of helpful stuff. So thank you so, so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yes, I will see you very soon.
Thank you very much.
Take
Thanks for having
care.
me. Bye.
Bye.